You're only 20 years old and you've had so much bad luck and tragedy in your life.
Constant.
How do you explain that you've had so much?
Shit luck. Making stupid decisions. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's bad luck, I guess. I ask that same question every day. You know, why me? What have I done to deserve it?
All right, Miranda.
Hello.
Miranda, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I was born in Colorado. Lived there about a year. After that, my mom and dad and I moved to Arizona. And at 4.5, my mother left my father, took me, which was shortly after I was raped by one of my father's druggie friends.
At 4 years old?
Yeah, 4.5.
Wow.
My mom moved me to Kingman from Lake Havasu, and we lived in a Section 8 duplex. I can remember at 6 was the earliest I can remember having to fill out my mom's paperwork for her doctor's appointments and helping her with her college paperwork and her tests and stuff at 9. We stayed in that duplex the entire time I lived there till I was about 13. At which point I had gone to juvie actually for taking the fall for one of my homies, quote unquote. Basically just a person I did meth with. And I took the fall for him and went to juvie jail. Stupidest mistake of my life because my mom passed while I was in there. I had started meth actually about 12 years old. Started by shooting up right here in this vein actually. I can still see the scars actually on both my arms. My veins no longer work. They have to find a vein within my wrist right here to actually get an IV in me or the top of my hands. Those are the only ones that work.
And how old are you now?
I'm 20 now. I currently do fentanyl and heroin. I started doing fentanyl and heroin after I lost my second daughter about 5 months ago. I miscarried at 18 weeks. I just found out that day that she was a girl. Her name was Sade Stephanie. My first daughter I had when I was 13, shortly before I went to jail, but I was beat at 7 months pregnant. While I was pregnant, I had done everything to keep that baby because I'm not gonna hurt no child, especially when they ain't got no chance to defend themselves, you know? But I found out the baby daddy was doing heroin. So I left him and he beat me. He left me there in his own house for dead, basically. I called the ambulance and passed out after I called. I remember waking up in the hospital and them putting the baby in my arms. She died 11 minutes later, latched on to my titty to breastfeed. After that, I got really stuck into dope for a long time. I went from 140 pounds to 93 in about 3 months. I spent about 6 years doing that, up until recently. I finally started gaining my weight back in Utah. And I got sober for a while, for about 2 years. I was sober and I had a fiance, 2 full-time paying jobs, and then COVID struck. My baby daddy, well, not my baby daddy, but I called him that. He got stabbed between the fourth and fifth rib, straight into the heart. I had 37 seconds to say goodbye. That was one of the hardest things I went through. After that, I started doing dope again. I ain't stopped since, just gotten worse and worse. Now I'm doing fentanyl. Shit, people are dying every day from that. And here I am smoking it. It's like I'm testing fate or something. Ain't got no will to die. Just ain't got nothing else to do. I'm stuck in the streets, doing whatever I can for money. I don't hoe or none of that, but I mean, shit, I'll rob people. I'll steal from stores. I do what I have to do to make my money, you know. Sometimes I'll get lucky and one of my homies or something will come up and they'll share with me. But, I mean, most days I don't have any money, any food. Most of the food I eat is passed out from schools and churches. There's a lot of good people out here, actually, that give out to the homeless, luckily. Otherwise, shit, I might be dead by now. I've been beaten out here for no reason. I've been kicked in the face by a female because she was jealous of me. And so she made up an accusation that I snitched on one of her homies so that her boyfriend would stand there and protect her while she kicked me in the face in an alley after stripping me naked and making me squat and cough. Nobody did anything about it. Tried going to the cops about it, but you know how they are. They don't really do much for the homeless, sadly. Because once you're on the streets, you're on the streets. You know, not a lot of people are willing to help. But, you know, somehow I'm gonna get there, hopefully. You know, I did spend 4 years in Utah. That's when I was clean. But my dad died September of last year.
So you've lost both your parents now?
I'm an orphan. All my family is dead. My auntie died when I was 11. My grandfather died when I was 9. My grandma died when I was 10. My Nana just recently died in December. My second daughter, like I said, November 19th, which was right after, or right before I started heroin. Started fentanyl about a month ago, because heroin wasn't enough anymore.
Tell me about your childhood. You were molested at 4, but tell me what else, what your childhood was like otherwise.
Most of the time, me and my mother were fighting, honestly. I can't remember one time that I can say was a good day all the way through. I remember there was one happy moment that I do remember with my mom, and it was my 7th birthday, and her boyfriend ended up grounding me because of some stupid something. And she ended up taking me shopping anyways. And even though we didn't get anything, you know, we were just window shopping. It was, you know, she still took me out and we had fun. When I was in rehab, actually, right after I was in jail, which was actually where I was when my mom died, not jail. She and I got a lot closer. And shortly after that, we were good for about a month, right before she died. And
How did your mom pass away?
she had fallen in the kitchen and had a concussion. And according to the people she went to school with, they had sent her to go to the hospital. But instead she went home and went to sleep. And she never woke up. And, you know, I blamed myself for a long time because I should have been there, you know, to take care of her like I'd always been. You know, I'd been taking care of her since I was 6, but, you know, I got too wrapped up into the drugs to do anything for her. And when I was in rehab, you know, I wasn't there to take care of her. I wasn't there to make sure she took her meds or, you know, I wasn't there in general. And I should have been. I shouldn't have been out there doing drugs and shit. I mean, that didn't do much for me, obviously, but get me on the streets. She had a wonderful smile. I remember that. Yeah. But she did what she could to take care of me. I know that. And even though every day was just another fight, I realize now it was just because she was trying to protect me. She was trying to keep me from doing all the things I was doing, and I just wouldn't listen. You know, that's something she always told me. You know, you could be a lawyer with as much as you argue, but if you would just listen for a second, you'd be okay. She was right. I should have listened to her, because shit, if I would have, I never would have been on the streets like I am. You know, that's what kids nowadays need to realize, is that, thank you, is that they need to listen to their parents, you know? Because if they would, you know, they won't end up like me. Man, I hope kids nowadays start listening, because being me ain't nothing to be. I'm 20 years old on the streets begging for food, begging for money, everything I can do to survive. And it ain't fun, you know? Like, I'm begging people just to stay alive. That ain't something you want for yourself. Not at all. I mean, shit, I was raped twice last year at 19 years old because I was in a deep, dark alley just trying to get drugs. And, you know, nobody helps. You can scream as loud as you want, but ain't nobody gonna hear you. And even if somebody does hear you, they ain't gonna come. Especially the people on the streets, you know, they're not gonna save you. They're not your friends. You're alone out here.
Do you have any friends?
No. I could say I have one friend in my life, and I've known her since I was in 2nd grade. Her name's Hannah. She has a son now, Mason. He's beautiful, beautiful baby boy. I miss the shit out of that girl. But, you know, she's somebody I always talk to when I can. If I have a phone, you know, that I can get a Wi-Fi on or something. She's somebody I always call to let know I'm okay. Shit's rough out here, man. You know, a lot of people don't take the time to do what you're doing and to listen. It's not easy being a little female out here alone on the streets. Not a lot of people even care, you know? You meet a lot of people who only want me for my body. That's all they're gonna be interested in, you know? They don't care about me or my story or what I'm going through. All they want is that pussy. And, you know, it gets old after a while. It's really degrading that all I'm worth to somebody is a couple minutes, you know? They don't care. You know, they'll fake and play games and act like they care, but they really don't. You know, and all these kids out here, I see kids that are younger than me out here on the streets, and I'm just like, what are you doing? You know, like, you could be in school, you know, drug-free, home with your parents. I don't have that. I don't have that opportunity anymore. I passed it up. I missed both my mom and dad dying. You know, my mom dying, I couldn't really help missing it, but I missed my dad because I didn't have the balls to go back and see him. You know, I had the opportunity, and right before I stepped in that car, I changed my mind. And he died. You know, I told myself, oh, he'll get better, he'll get better. But I didn't even get to say goodbye because I wouldn't go see him. You know, and that's a decision I'll never let go. You know, I'll never be able to live that down. I regret that every day, not going to say goodbye. But in the end, the drugs ended up being more important. And shit, it sucked, you know?
How were you introduced to drugs at such a young age?
I met this guy at this church, after-school church program in Arizona. And, you know, we had been friends for a couple of weeks, and I eventually went out to his house out in Bullhead, Arizona. And we were gonna buy some weed. I had $114 in my pocket. And he ended up buying meth instead. And so I stuck a needle in my arm. I said, fuck it, it'll help. I was really depressed as a kid. Don't really know what for. Didn't really have anything to be depressed about. Not back then. I mean, now, yeah. But back then, I don't know why I wanted to do it. Didn't make no sense. I was just a really damaged kid overall, making stupid decisions for no reason. You know, just to be rebellious. Rebellious isn't something you should be unless you've got the backup to be it. You know?
How much does that molestation at 4.5 impact your life now?
Actually, it made me more promiscuous than anything. At about 11, I lost my virginity willingly. But up until that point, I didn't let nobody touch me at all. My mom wouldn't hug me, nothing, none of that. I didn't let anybody touch me. When I was about 11, I started becoming curious. And so this kid I went to school with, he was only 12. We ended up fooling around a little bit, you know? And one night we ended up actually having sex at his house. And I remember he had a pillow over my face so that I couldn't see nothing, you know? Because he was shy or whatever. But not to where I couldn't breathe or anything, just to where I couldn't see. And I mean, it was all consensual and everything like that. It was just, he didn't want me to see his thing, I guess, you know? Now it's funny, you know? I still talk to him. I'll message him once in a while. Remember that green pillow? And we always laugh about it, but it was funny. Man. But looking back now, I wish I would have waited. I wish I would have saved it for my ex-fiance, who I ended up meeting in Utah. But you know, him and I still had a lot of fun together. For about 3 years, we were together, up until he was stabbed, died in my arms. That kid was only a kid, you know? He was only 20 when he died.
What was he doing that got him stabbed in the heart?
Nothing. He was protecting me. This guy was being really rude and disrespectful. And I punched him in the face. And so he hit me back and pulled out a knife. And before he could get to me, my ex-fiance jumped in. And he stabbed him right here. Right between the 4th and 5th rib. And went straight into the heart. And after your heart's damaged beyond repair, you've only got 37 seconds to live. And that's a fact that I have learned from experience, not the internet. And that really sucks, you know? For a long time, I blamed myself for that one too. I still kind of do, you know? Had I just kept my mouth shut, he might still be here. But I just had to open my big mouth, you know? Say something back and hurt somebody that I shouldn't have fucked with. But, you know, it is what it is. Can't take it back now. But, at least he's in a better place, you know? Better than being on this earth. Shit. This place ain't nothing you want to be with. Ain't nothing fun out here. Everything out here ain't nothing but pain, misery, sadness. I mean, I can't even stand to look on these streets. I feel bad for these people. You know, a lot of these people have just lost their minds being out here. They talk to themselves. I mean, most of them are probably schizophrenic or something. No help out here. Just because they got hit upside the head maybe one too many times. I think that's how a lot of them lose their mind, honestly, is just get hit one too many times and their mind snaps. They start talking to themselves, eating out of trash cans, fucking living in piles of garbage. It's disgusting, you know? I mean, at least me, I have some resources to keep clean, you know? Got a couple of people that I know that live in buildings that'll let me come and shower, you know, stuff like that, but still, it's hard out here, man.
You're only 20 years old and you've had so much bad luck and tragedy in your life.
Constant.
How do you explain that you've had so much?
Shit luck. Making stupid decisions. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just bad luck, I guess. I really don't know. I ask that same question every day. You know, why me? What have I done to deserve it? Because I don't, you know?
Do you feel like life is unfair?
No, it's not. It's not fair, but you can only do what you gotta do to survive, you know? Thank you. You know, you can only do so much. I mean, I have a high school diploma. I finished school with a 4.0 GPA. But getting a job without an ID, and getting an ID is so damn hard being on the streets. She ain't got the money for it, or, you know, even with an ID voucher, you still have to have your birth certificate, your social security card. And then even then, most of the time, if I have all of that, I'm too doped up and my shit gets stole. So, you know, it's also a lack of motivation on my part. Mainly because I don't want to wake up in the mornings, you know? I'd rather just stay asleep.
What emotions do you deal with most?
Depression, a lot, anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I have a panic disorder that causes random panic attacks for no reason. Like out of nowhere, I'll just start panicking. I could be completely alone, and all of a sudden I'll start thinking, which leads me into panicking, and I'll just sit in a ball cry by myself. Ain't nothing I can do to help it. I've been on medications all my life, which never really worked. I've tried for years to manage it, and it just, nothing really helps except for the black, which is the heroin. The fentanyl helps a little too, but I'm more shy on using that because I ain't trying to die, you know?
Have you OD'd?
One time about a week ago on fentanyl, I took 2 really, really small hits, you know, smaller than I normally take, and even that caused me to OD, you know? I remember getting up to go to the bathroom, and I was starting to head back to the tent, and it was only a 10-foot gap between the tent and the porta potty, but I ended up falling and passing out, I guess. That's what these little scrapes right here are from, and these bruises. I fell to my knees, I guess, and just passed out. I wasn't breathing. I remember waking up after my friend had shot me up with 3 Narcans up the nose. And I woke up in the grass, full-fledged into a panic attack. And I remember crying for help from my mama. You know, Mom, what's going on? I don't really know why. I felt like I was talking to her. Maybe I was when I was out, you know? He told me I was blue all the way down to my fingers. Completely blue from head to my fingers. And I just can't imagine that, you know? Blue. Like, I just stopped breathing. And I didn't even know it. I don't remember it. I think that's the scariest part, is that I just don't remember. And then coming back, you know, I was freezing cold. I mean, I had cold shakes that were just uncontrollable. I think that was some of the worst pain I've experienced in my life. It's that cold. And that's what Narcan does, is it turns you cold. That's why when people are Narcan, they wrap you up in those heated blankets, because your body is immediately withdrawing from that heroin or the Narcan or whatever, or the fentanyl or whatever, and that Narcan is trying to sober you up. Man, the next day, I tried everything I could to get high, and I just couldn't. I was sober as fuck. I couldn't get high for the life of me. I think I spent about $100 that day trying to get high. Nothing. No high whatsoever. I mean, I'd had some of the best shit I had in my life, and nothing touched me because that Narcan was running through my system. Man, it sucked. I wasn't going through withdrawals, though. I was sober. You know, like normal, and it was weird. But, man.
And today you're living in a tent on Skid Row?
Yeah. I live in a tent down on 6th and Wall. It's right by a gutter on our sidewalk with this guy. I won't say his name, but, you know, he looks out for me. He takes care of me. He makes sure I have my fix every day. And if I stay there, you know, that's my man, I guess. But, I mean, he protects me, he takes care of me, so it's better than being outside on the sidewalk. I mean, I'm technically on a sidewalk, but at least there's a couch in there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm warm at night, so it's better than being completely stuck outside. You know, It's better than nothing.
What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in your 20 years?
Listen. Listen to the people that are trying to help you. Because that's all they're trying to do. They ain't trying to boss you around. They ain't trying to tell you how to live. They're just trying to give you the right ways to live. Most times, just listen to the ones that are stable. The ones that have a house. The ones that have a job. Listen to them because they can help you. I mean, I'm lucky I came across you. Because shit, if I didn't, I don't know what I would have had to do for money today. I mean, that's all I've got to survive on, But, yeah, that's me.
All right, Miranda. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck in getting off these streets and getting away from.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.